Welcome to the Recovery Cast, brought to you by Hills and Rangers Private.
Welcome to the Recovery Cast, brought to you by Hills and Rangers Private. My name is Alexis, and I'm a former alcoholic and addict, now in recovery. The Recovery Cast is a podcast created by people in recovery from alcoholism and addiction for people in recovery from alcoholism and addiction. This podcast is meant as a support tool for those in recovery. Everyone who participates in the podcast is in an active recovery program. We are not affiliated with any one recovery methodology and will focus on a variety of different types of recovery, including 12-step recovery, otherwise known as Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery, Recovery Dharma, Cognitive Behavioural Therapy, and more. And a quick disclaimer, this podcast is intended to be informative. A podcast alone cannot support your sobriety and recovery, so we suggest it only as one component of a daily recovery routine. For more information on what recovery is, go to www.rehab.melbourne. Hi.
Good morning, Alexis. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
You're okay.
Is the question.
Well, that ties into our topic today. I have a
Yeah.
case of what's known as the ckits today. I woke up this morning and I just struggled from the moment I opened my eyes, struggled to get out of bed, struggled with what I've got to do today, struggled with everything, and it's raining and it's cold, and that totally defies the season that we're in, and it should be nice outside, and I just feel like I'm so over everything, and I just want to sprout a pair of wings and fly out of my life and disappear forever. To be honest, I'm so resentful at everything. I went to the supermarket to buy bread today, and I was resentful because it was raining. I was resentful because someone took my usual parking spot in the car park. I don't know. I've just had enough. And I thought that rather than me just suck it up and try and hide that and try and come on and be like some kind of bubbly, happy person on this podcast, I'm going to bring my depresso self in and we're going to talk about it because I think it's important, and this happens to the best of us at the best of times, doesn't it? Does it happen to you?
Yes. Yeah, I think I run on that narrative. Like, just fuck it.
That's your normal.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Legit though. Like, it's just, yeah, I don't know, man. It takes a lot more effort for me to be like, okay, great, let's go be engaged with life and like all about it than it does.
Like a cheerleader.
Yeah, that's just not my default state whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. But
My default state's pretty good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like I'm like, ready, okay, like I'm not like that, but I'm usually pretty good, and I'm usually plugged into a little bit of gratitude maybe because I know the alternative. However, I don't know. We'll talk about it. Today's reading first, though. That's what we're going to do, and that is on membership. It's from the JFT just for today, from December 13. There is only one requirement for membership: the desire to stop using basic text, page 9. We all know people who could benefit from Narcotics Anonymous. Many people we encounter from all walks of life, our family members, old friends, co-workers, could really use a program of recovery in their lives. Sadly, those who need us don't always find their way into our rooms. NA is a program of attraction, not promotion. We are only members when we say we are. We can bring our friends and loved ones to a meeting if they are willing, but we cannot force them to embrace the way of life that has given us freedom from active addiction. Membership in Narcotics Anonymous is a highly personal decision. The choice to become a member is made in the heart of each individual addict. In the long run, coerced meeting attendance doesn't keep too many addicts in our rooms. Only addicts who are still suffering, if given the opportunity, can decide if they are powerless over their addiction. We can carry the message, but we can't carry the addict. Just for today, I'm grateful for my decision to become a member of Narcotics Anonymous. Now,
are you grateful?
I'm grateful now that I think about it. Yeah, I think about it, but I mean, it's not all about me. I think it's very true that there are a lot of people out in the world that need this kind of 12-step program in their life, some of whom aren't actually addicts. Sometimes I think that the people around me who are normal should surrender to a higher power and you know, all the things that sort of stuff brings. I feel like a lot of people need that and don't get it. And I feel like there are a lot of people who don't get recovery even though they've been trying for a long time, and I think that they should just shut up and just sit down in a meeting and take their medicine, because in my experience, it's the only thing that has worked for me. You know, rehab has gotten me clean. That was a very important part of my journey, but it's the 12 steps that have kept me clean. And in a lot of ways, I'm that purist, 12-step Bible thumping, not Bible thumping, but big book thumping kind of person.
Well, that's it, yeah. Like, I can relate to that. You need that ongoing social support. And I remember when I had court-ordered counselling before I'd come to NA, before I'd even, knew that NA existed outside of, Hollywood and the movies,
Yeah.
My drug counsellor, told me I got, 90 days up or something, 92 days up, and literally just white knuckling it and running on pure just anger and resentment and not being able to use anymore, and not wanting to go to jail again. And the counsellor was like, you need social support, and I where I recommend you getting that is NA. And I was like, meh. Yeah. I don't want to sit in a room and listen to a bunch of addicts talking about their drug problem and not being able to use. I'm going to be fine on my own.
I thought that I was not bad enough. I thought, okay, I don't use needles. I don't do the hard drugs, TM. What am I going to get out of being in a room full of junkies when I'm just a misunderstood private school kid with an alcohol problem and a weed problem?
So unique.
And a prescription pill problem and a psychedelics problem, So that was it. I wasn't ready. I actually was not fucking ready. And if someone had dragged me into an NA meeting, I would have said, get stuffed, I'm out of here, and I would have never come back.
Well, that's what happened to me pretty much. I went to a few meetings this was in 2018, as per that counsellor's suggestion. And I was just like, fuck this, this place, and I ended up going and relapsing, and that relapse took me to jail, and by that time I was broken enough.
Then you were ready.
And then I was ready.
Yeah. Then you actually had the desire to stop using.
And I didn't have anyone telling me that I should go there and I should get social support and everything like that. I was like, wait, there is this place where I think that I can be okay.
Yeah.
And if they're doing it, maybe I can as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very, very true. I mean, I think there are people that continually relapse even after coming out of treatment, and I ask them to think about whether they did the 12 steps or whether they actually gave it a really red hot go. Give it a red hot go, because you've got to become truly ready to do that, and without that, there's not a lot of hope. Especially when, for me, I mean, I was well and truly ready by the time I actually came into the rooms, and I think it's just a matter of waiting for that time, because there was nothing I could do before that. I had to actually, I had to earn my place, and I earned my seat in the rooms by going to that absolute depraved depths of hell of my addiction. So, Once I did that, I was actually ready. And it sounds like it's the same. It's totally the same thing for you. It's attraction, not promotion. You don't, I've mentioned this. There's a television program on TV at the moment about people who are suffering from addiction, and there's absolutely no mention of NA. There's nothing to do with that in there. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, you're missing out on the most important thing about recovery there, mate. You can go to your drug and alcohol counsellor as many times as you like, but it's not actually going to do anything for you unless
No.
you surrender and acknowledge that you're powerless over your addiction. Your life's become unmanageable. That's my old man NA kind of persona.
Yeah, I like
What
that.
are we going to call him? We're going to call him Jeff.
Jeff's
Okay.
a good one.
Yeah, Jeff's a big NA guy, you know. I don't know.
That's good. Roll with it. Roll with it.
Yeah, okay. So, and I mean, yes, and it's a big part. It's not the only part, though. That's what we've also been talking about. And it says in the Just for Today, it says, I am grateful for my decision to become a member of Narcotics Anonymous. Yes, I'm extremely grateful. But, I'm grateful for my recovery in general because it's not just all about NA. I think I use NA, and I think NA is used, and it's not just NA, it's 12 steps.
Yeah.
It's used to build a bridge back to a better life, to build your life in recovery. And I haven't just built this bridge to hang out on the bridge. I've actually crossed the bridge and I'm enjoying my recovery. Even on a day when I have the fuck it, like today, where I'm just over it and things aren't going my way and I'm annoyed and everything's a bit doomy and gloomy. I am grateful for recovery because if I didn't have my recovery, then a day like this would just be so much worse.
Yeah. Could you imagine your emotional state? Like, I can. God, God, where do I even begin? I can take myself back to like an ordinary day, like in active addiction, and the absolute, like the level of stress and the intensity that I felt within myself, like especially if I was running low and I knew I had to go and get on, like, and just
Me too.
that, it just used to make me rage. Like if the bus was late, it would make me rage. Like I would just be like literally seething, like everything out of my control, like would make me lose my mind. Like,
Yeah.
and I couldn't just be okay. Like I had no acceptance. I had no ability to practice patience. I still struggle with that, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
well, me too. That's why I've got the fuck it's.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I'm not doing that and I'm running on self-will. But yeah, I was that person in the street yelling at someone, when you see someone who's in the grips of addiction or alcoholism and they're quite clearly very, very acutely unwell mentally. That's where I was. And I would have been at that point. And the difference between that then and now is the fact that I'm in recovery. I think without that, I would still be that person that's in the street yelling at someone. I've been that person over a parking space, over the bus being late, over being on the phone and someone telling me that something that I don't want to hear and I'm yelling into the phone. And, I see those people today and they're struggling and they're not well. And that's where I get that. I don't know. It's a very sick kind of gratitude because I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not like that, anymore. But it's true. I am grateful for that recovery that I've got today because I would have been, using, and I would have been in a more miserable place, even when things were going the way I wanted and I had the drugs and I had everything, I had the money.
Yeah, because it was never enough.
It was actually never enough. And more often than not, I would have been going through my housemates' drawers for change and...
I need to get on again.
Yeah, and I would have been walking the streets looking for cigarette butts to smoke because I had no money. And that's where my addiction took me. A middle class, white kid that went to a private school. That's where my addiction took me. It took me to, almost the gutter, almost. And that's the reality is that I sometimes forget how bad that was, and I think, it's raining outside, and it's Tuesday, and it's Thursday, and it's a miserable day, and why is life so hard? Why am I so, I'm in recovery. I've been in recovery for 4 years and 2 months nearly, and it still doesn't go the way I want. And I just have to remember that, well, actually, it's going the way myself over 4 years ago would have been thrilled with, because for so long I thought, I've got to get clean. I hate this. I hate my life using. Why can't I just be normal? And I look back through all of my journals and things, and they're all just me saying, I want to stop, or I'm stopping, I've stopped, I'm never going to do this again. And then, you know, the next entry is, I'm back on it. You know, I'm okay. I've got control over this. I'll be fine. I just won't use on the weekdays, or I won't, you know, do this drug or do this drug instead. And it was just chaos. It was actual fucking chaos.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I've got diary entries being like, I slept for a couple of days, feeling much better, you know?
Yeah.
Like, now I've got to do all these things, and obviously I have to get on to be able to do them, but that's okay because I've slept for like 48 hours straight, you know?
Had some sleep.
Yeah. Like, now I get to sleep every day and I get to be appreciative of it, you know?
Yeah, there's that one of them is like this illusion of self-care of like, I've had a sleep for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Now I can stay up for 7. You know?
So true. Oh, no.
Well, I've had ramen today. You know, now it's like spinach.
got a little fancy and put some egg in there, you know, and like really feel like I'm getting my protein.
Yeah.
Like
Nutrition.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's that. It is that. It's you know, adulting.
Yes.
I've had my one meal for the day. Totally.
Yeah, really feeling empowered by that.
I forget about those times of
rough.
You know.
They're rough.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's gratitude. So the gratitude, do you write gratitude lists ever?
Me? No. Look, You're
missing out, man.
Mate, nah. Look, I started out writing gratitude lists, and the more I went on, I just wanted to...
The angrier you got.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And like I found myself being really inauthentic in it, being like, I'm grateful that I had coffee today, and I'm grateful for the sky and the weather, and like I can't run on that narrative. If I play pretend, shit comes out of me sideways, and it's a risky space for me to be in. I've got to be like straight up and honest with myself. And then, lo and behold, I stumbled across this article that was like, people who suffer from depression are like least likely to be able to benefit from doing gratitude lists. And like there was all this like, I don't know, it was like links to scholarly articles that were saying like, it doesn't always work. And I was like, aha! Sent it to my sponsor. I was like, I'm never doing one again. Like I've got evidence now. But I have done it a couple of times since that. Like the last time I did a really detailed one was for my 1 year back in June, and that was really detailed, and I wrote it down for myself and I shared it with just a couple of people. That was something as well. At the start, I was sending it to like 13 different people, and it was just...
If you're one of those people that posted on Facebook, you can fuck off right now.
Yeah, like I just...
Post it on Facebook with like every different day that you do it, you get a different emoji.
So that's what some of my friends do.
The purple love heart dot point. So I'm grateful for a warm bed. I'm grateful for being clean just for today. Like...
And then at the end, they're like, I'm grateful for you.
Block.
Yeah, I had to cut that shit out.
That's cringe. Hey, it's cringe.
It's just not my MO, like whatsoever.
Modus operandi.
Yeah. Not at all. Not at all. And that's okay, you know. I had to get a couple of friends to stop sending them to me because I was just like, look, I'm just not on that level, and I love that you are, but like I'm just not there, and that's just, this is my journey, and like it doesn't take away from the gratitude that I have.
You are grateful?
I am, and I resent saying it because I'm like, oh, being vulnerable and being positive, ew.
Yeah.
But I am a grateful member of NA. I'm a grateful member of my own recovery. I am a grateful and willing participant of my recovery. Even when I want to, honestly, even when I want to blow the back of my skull out, like I am still happy to be here. And yeah, I don't even know where to begin with it. Like,
that's
well,
all
I do. I do actually. I could fucking rant for ages. But like with the topic with the fuckets, for me, my fuckets are much more different now to what they used to be. They used to be filled with rage and resentment, and I would just be like, fuck it, everything's fucked, and like, you know, like, let's just go sit here and smoke drugs for like 6 hours and like feel like I'm being productive because I vacuumed my carpet for like 45 minutes straight. Like, you know, like so productive, and look at where I'm going. But my fuckets these days in recovery, like I'm still able to push through. Like, I can really relate. I feel like everything can get fucked on most days, but I still get up and I do what I need to do because I don't know what else to do except that. I just need to keep moving forward, even when I feel the least likely to want to get anywhere, to want to do anything, to want to better my life. Like, I still just do it. What else do you do? Like, honestly, I'm in a routine now. I just got to keep moving forward with it.
And you know what? I know full well why I've got the fuckets. Do you want me to tell you why I've got the fuckets?
Yes.
I've done a meeting this week. I haven't called my sponsor this week.
No.
I haven't been praying regularly, to that. I'm a in the shower prayer, I'm like, God, I don't know how to live my fucking life. Can you please help me today? Just guide me through. Just put me on the right path and send it down and let me just glide through my life without any turbulence whatsoever. This is what I say. Lame, I know. It works because I don't know, even on a subconscious level, I'm like, okay, I got this. I can just cruise through and everything will be okay. And even if things happen that I don't like, I'm going to survive.
I think it's great that you do your prayers in the shower because, like, showering as it is such a cleansing ritual. Like, literally, you know, like
it's just it's somewhere where I stop and I'm not on I'm not playing solitaire on my phone on the couch with my, being like, oh, life sucks. That's what I've been doing the last few days, and that's why that's why I've got the fuckets, is because I haven't actually been doing the stuff. My recovery program has slipped, and I get in that pain. I get the fuckets, and then it shocks me back into, I've got to ring my sponsor today. I have to listen to that guy. I end up ringing him, and he ends up talking about something completely different. But the thing is, he's in a very okay place spiritually. He's got a spiritual program, and he will provide the guidance that sometimes I know that I don't want to hear, but I know is right for me. And that's where I'm at right now, is I know that it's like bitter medicine, it's gonna taste like crap, but it's good for you because it's gonna make you better. And sometimes I just have to, little baby man-child Oliver's got to get strapped down to the high chair, and you have to hold his mouth open, and you have to shove that medicine in there, and you have to, make sure that he gets it, because
shake his face a little bit,
swallow. It's like trying to give my dog an antibiotic tablet. It's like somehow you stuff it into a bit of meat, and then she takes it, and then 5 seconds later the antibiotic pops out and lands on the ground, and she looks at you like, why'd you give me the meat with that disgusting thing in it? I have to do that. I have to try and just sit there and take it. And you know what? My experience shows me that even when I don't want to do it, I still need to do it. Because what's the alternative? Not doing it and letting that pain get so bad that putting a drug in my system becomes an option, becomes a better option. And you know what? Over the last 2 days, I've been more triggered than I have in my entire recovery. My whole recovery. I don't normally get triggered for some reason. I went into when I was in rehab, when I got out of lockdown, when you sort of they let you go for a walk to the supermarket or whatever after 7 days, in the one that I went to anyway. And I went to get cigarettes, and the only place I could find was a pub. So I walked into a pub, and I'm buying cigarettes over the bar, and there's a pint in front of me. I didn't get triggered at all. No triggering. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then out I went. I don't understand why, but today I've been more triggered than I have in years. And you know what? Good, because I need to learn to live with these things, these cravings, these triggers, all that stuff. We need to learn to live with it. And it's going to happen at some stage. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do that's different to the way that we used to behave? That's all I care about. That's what I'm concerned about.
That's really interesting that you say that. It's I like to look at like my triggers for use as a how do I say it? Like, I don't know.
If you're going to say it's a test or a challenge, you can get out right now. Nothing is a challenge. There is no God saying, let's test this guy.
No, not like that.
I don't believe in that stuff. I think everything just happens, and there's no It just happens, you know. Yeah.
But do you think that maybe it's like where you're feeling that you're at a safe space within yourself, you know? And then it's like, like, does that make sense? Like,
No.
Okay. So sometimes I have felt like, maybe I could go do that because I'm feeling like I'm better within myself. I don't know if that's just me. When I felt good, I've felt like using because I'm like, hey, I'm healed.
That's true.
know?
That's a tricky one,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because you're like, when you're feeling shit, you want to use, and when you're feeling good, you want to use. You want to go and relapse. The thing that makes me second guess myself is looking at other people and thinking that I'm more okay than them. I think, well, I never used I always talk about the hard drugs, TM, you know, maybe because I haven't been triggered, I haven't had cravings, I have had this recovery where I've sort of just been able to glide through. Maybe I'm not an addict. Maybe I can be like those people you hear about that go and have a champers at Crimbus time and they're okay. And I know that is definitely not true, that I am a garden variety, hopeless, you know, alcoholic and addict. There is it is all or nothing. And that terrible cliche of, we'll bring Jeff back. What is it? One's too many and 1,000's never enough. You know, you can't have one because if you try, then you're going to end up having all of it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to spend all your money and you're going to make an absolute dick of yourself at your family Christmas.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm going to slap my 2-year-old niece around the face and you know, steal my great uncle's medication, and then I'm never going to see my family again. You know, that's absolutely what happens, and I can't let that happen.
Yeah.
So there's relapse at every turn, and it's sneaky and it sneaks up on you.
It's insidious.
The
disease
insidious.
of addiction is insidious.
It's worse, and it's a chronic disease. Like it's a chronic illness.
Yeah, which means lifelong.
Yeah, you can go to a rehab and come out 90 days later and relapse the same day, and if that isn't worse than diabetes or you know, something that's never going to go away, you know, it's something that will never go away, and sometimes it's really hard year after year and day after day having to deal with it, but it's certainly. You know, if you were a diabetic, you'd take your insulin, you'd monitor your blood sugar levels. It's no different to that. And unfortunately, it does take over a lot of my life. But you know what? It's what I have to do. And I've had the alternative, and there's no other option for me. What do you think? You just got to suck it up and you know, stay in recovery, don't you?
Yeah. And I don't know.
Go skydiving, you know, spice it up a bit.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, it's not, you don't have to have this boring life, do you?
No, it doesn't have to be boring at all. But we also have to learn the difference between like what we think is boring and what's actually like a nice, normal, calm way to live, you know?
Yeah.
Like when I was inactive, I used to just beg for everything like as much as I was obsessed with the chaos, I just wanted it all to stop, and it just couldn't, and it wouldn't. And, you know, the way that I was living wouldn't allow for it to happen. And now that it has stopped, I kind of romanticize that, you know, and I'm like, God, I miss that rush. I miss that stress. I miss that feeling, you know, in my, like deep in my chest, in my like diaphragm. But, I wouldn't trade this for the world at all. Like I love that I can get my head on the pillow at the end of the day every night, and I wake up around the same time every day, and I have the same little morning routine, and that brings me peace because it gives me a semblance of the control that I was so desperate for that in all of my active addiction and my life prior to addiction as well. You know, I finally have that. I have that consistency, and I have that capability to take care of myself in a way that I never thought I'd ever grasp, but was constantly searching for.
And now you've got it.
Yeah.
And you have to remain, be grateful for it. And that's what it's about. Now, the challenge. What's the challenge?
Oh, would say
need the challenge music. Challenge.
What the hell?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Cringe. Yeah, what's the challenge? Go to a meeting.
Yeah.
Be grateful for your recovery. Do
Look,
something for your recovery. Show up today.
Yeah, look around the room and see the other members who are also putting consistency and effort into their recovery, and see how it changes. Even ask some of them. Ask how showing up every day for their recovery has changed their life.
Yeah.
And report back to us, so we've got more topics now.
Yeah. Well, we're in the process of getting an email so that people can ask questions or tell us that we're boring.
Yeah, sick. Can't wait.
Or, send insults or harass us, whatever you want to do. We'll let you know as soon as I'm aware of that email address and I'm actually allowed to access it. We'll share that. This has been the what episode? This is this is the longest episode that we've ever done. So we hope that you got something out of it. In the meantime, thank you for listening to another episode of the Recovery Cast, proudly brought to you by Hills and Ranges Private. That's all there is to say. Show up for your recovery. Have some gratitude. I'm going to try and take my own advice. What about you, Alexis?
Yeah, dude. I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
I'm cruising.
I'm going to try to be. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's also the best and the most rewarding in some ways. So
absolutely.
Do it. Awesome. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Cast. For more, visit us at www.rehab.melbourne.